So the story goes, you know, this this stupid Home Depot music, like not really Home Depot, but kind of Home Depot-ish kind of sounded that I've been using forever. Some chumps, and you can see it in my last video because I left it in the description. Some chumps, I don't remember what name of the company, have decided to lay claim to that song that I totally bought to use and licensed. Chumps. So I've disputed their claim, and I'm all screw them. So I went and bought this song and edited it together to make it 5 minutes to make it the new intro. Who was in here early? Somebody was in here early. Look at us with our 50-50 poll. How do I make this go away? I don't know how to make that go away. B was in early. Filipino reefer. Mother from North Carolina. Apparently father's in the same place, maybe. Joseph. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit of Reefi. That's a hell of a good light. John. Matt. Phil. It's not so fancy as much as it was just whatever. I just cut that thing together. What's up, Wayne? I don't know how this crowd's gonna roll. I'm a little late. I was actually late because I was just putting the music together. I wasn't sure I was gonna stream tonight. It's been a busy day. We were up super early to get my kid on the bus. He had a cross country meet today, and that went well. That was fun. He was happy. Kid was pretty tired when he was done. Fell asleep in the car. He never does that. Fell asleep at home. Never does that. All good. What up, Jay? Oh, I'm drinking a little pinky up tonight. I stole the boys' fizzy something. I don't know what it was. And I put some vodka in it. Just called real. Let's get to it. Yeah, I suppose. I think I need to go a little early, too, because some cool people are over in Europe. And I think we need to get them in here because they swear more. And I know, right? And that might be fun. They say words we're not allowed to say here. And I appreciate that. I value their input. And we need to do a little something about that, I think. Look at us rolling 62%. Hey, May. So, I don't know if this is news or not. So here's what I got. I received a pseudo-anonymous hint that Bertram Capital, our friends behind the acquisition, whatever, our friends behind the funding of Bulk Reef Supply, the creation of the new entity, even though it's still the same old, it's still new with a new CEO, added players to the game, the Reef Pack, the demise of Marine Depot, and the big bear hug of Neptune Systems into the BRS fold. That's where all that money came from, Bertram. So BRS shopped around. They looked for some venture capitalists. Venture capital, not capitalists. That's a little different. They picked the one they wanted. Those folks did 7 figures-ish. Word on the street is Bertram Capital has acquired or will shortly acquire Innovative Marine and Ecotech Systems. And I'm interested to see if that actually comes true, because it makes sense. I was talking to another VC guy. Actually, we'll probably have him on at some point to talk about how VC works. And he totally picked this. He picked this months ago. He's like, oh yeah, here's what's going to happen next. And he nailed this. This was his, this was absolutely his, whatever, his guess. And that ain't the dude who told me about this business. So I'm excited to see if it comes true. What's up, Justin? Vodka cranberry with a twist. This is more like a sparkling black raspberry. I'm telling you, I'm feeling. These are nice. You ever had these? These are fancy. You know, some of those with gas drinks. That's how they say it. Or they're fancy over in Europe there. Gas or still, or sparkling or still, but with or without gas. Kind of depends on what country you're in. This gassed up sparkling foo is kind of tasty. Um, I'm unable to function without swearing. I mean, swearing should be like commas. Speaking of swearing, I was on the Reef experience with Dez and Lewis on Thursday, and that was an enjoyable conversation. There was a significant time spent on influencers and thoughts on influencers and what do we consider being paid and what isn't being paid, because influencers are paid. They're paid with a stipend where they can spend at the store, or they're paid in, yes, this is payment, they're paid in free equipment. One who receives free equipment needs to mention that to the tax man, by the way. I don't know if that's known. That's a thing. Something to consider. Interesting conversation. Some swearing. Maybe not some meeting in the middle, but certainly hopefully understanding each other's positions. There's a level of recognition that's appreciated at various levels of said silly influencer game. My argument is we're all influenced by everything. If I wasn't influenced by people, I would never do this. I would never have learned how to fly RC. I would never have learned how to take pictures, photography, interest in computers, interest in laser cutting, 3D printing, fixing cars. Hell, everything. That's all being. Oh, Manny's on his game today. What I'll show it. They are not all this, but I will show it. We all, in our own way, influence. Those who I think influence for money are marketing tools. Take it for what it's worth. I think there are those who do it right, and I think there are those that do it wrong, and that was part of that discussion. Cheers to the ones who do it right, because I know you're doing it right, and I appreciate the way you're doing it. So, seek your payment, and use your powers for good. That's all I got to say. They're absolutely not all scumbags. I know that for a fact. There are some really good people in that group of people. I also discussed how I don't need to respect or support them as a group. They are individuals, and I will support the individuals I feel are worthy of my support. After all, isn't that kind of how we do it in life? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so Bertram is buying Ecotech. I don't know if Ecotech rolls into BRSville or if they remain their own entity. If I had to pick, I would say they kind of roll like Neptune. Or they stay completely separate and they're just funded by the same VC, which could be interesting. And then also Innovative Marine, which kind of makes sense. I don't get the price of those things, but whatever. I'm sure they're really nice. That's a lot of money. Like I said earlier today in a DM, that's not my kind of money. That's not money I'm interested in spending. It's just so much money. And I saw DC's tank, right? DC Reef has got he had a beautiful IM that I helped carry. That thing was ridiculously heavy. But all good. Yeah, Peter. See, that's kind of my point. What's up, Wade? I don't know about a monopoly, Peter. That's an interesting. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. No, they're not a monopoly. There's absolutely other options out there. Um, it's not a monopoly. So, and I still buy from them because in some cases they make it really easy for me. Somebody in the comments section said that I am an influencer too, and I need to stop crapping on other influencers. No? What I like are the ones who provide wrong information, and I see that, and that's unfortunate. And I correct them in DM, and sometimes they get butthurt, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." Cool. There's an interesting line that you need to play, right? I mean, Moki's an influencer. That guy does it right. Phil's an influencer. He does it right. Devin does it right. I mean, there are a whole bunch of people out there who are doing it right. I think those that are doing it wrong, and there's absolutely, though, Brandy, right? From CRC. She's totally doing it right. There are those who like revel in the awesomeness that they feel, the awesome they feel because they've been chosen. Whatever. I would greatly prefer appreciation because I help somebody save, like $100 because my focus is on budgeteering and not profiteering. Cool. BRS and TikTok. Hello, Reefers. LE, Alibaba, way to go. Unnamed brand. Some of those are good. Like Reef Breeders, right? Where are those coming from? They're coming from Alibaba. What if BRS will push to open brick and mortar stores or franchise them? If they move into so what if Bertram purchases Petco and they all become like BRS branded, which is totally possible, right? It's possible. That could happen. That'll make it easier. I got a Petco down by my LFS. Sleeves, that's certainly Brightwell was my choice. Word on the street is old rank isn't Jack isn't right. Jack Kent, he's not gonna. He already did that with Kent Marine. At least that's the opinion that's out there that was shared with me. Maybe that won't happen. I don't know. That guy's getting a little crusty. Maybe he wants to sell it and buy a sailboat if he doesn't already have one, because his house looked kind of fancy in that stream I saw. And go do something else. Who knows? Or just quit. Sit on an island somewhere and chill. All right. We can get past that. I think... Whatever. We're certainly not going to... some are going to understand. Some are not going to understand. Some do understand because I've talked with them. Those are generally the ones that I think are doing it for the right reason. There are those that aren't. There are those who will pimp any damn thing that they can get their hands on. And those are obvious. Use your powers for good. That's what I got to say. Yeah, I bet some of those comments were probably fun. Some of the comments I saw, and they were fun. And I was able to address a couple of them. But it was a cool experience. Those guys are all right. They're smart. They were ready. Certainly Des was ready. That was a good time. So look at that poll. That poll, 65% are saying Bertram's going to buy Ecotech. Ending the poll. Yeah, He has been doing it for a while, Phil. He did it. He's doing something right. That's just a side hustle for him. That's not his jam. Dude's an engineer. During that stream, it was interesting to hear because anytime when he got to where he's talking about engineering things, that's when he really perked up. When he's talking about the microbiology aspects, then he was just he wasn't anywhere near as jazzed as when he was talking about an engineering thing. That was fun to watch. To Chris's point, we need to be our own influencers. Manny, tanks are doing well. Actually, really, really well. I don't want to screw that up. The calc slurry, of course, I'm still running that. That's almost 110 days. Probably 4 months. Actually, it's probably 4 months worth of calc slurry. It's just 110, 112 days on that Jabo. ICP looked good. Alkalinity is totally rock solid. It's floating around between, I say rock solid, then I say float, 8.9 to 9.2. It's right there in that band, and it stays there all day long, which is pretty cool. I've been testing a lot lately, too. I've been testing every 2 hours, just during daytime. I fire it up around 6 and turn it off right around 9. So, question regarding the 7206. Over a Red Sea 170 reefer. Too much light? No, there's no such thing as too much light because lights can be turned down. What's a 170? What's 170 liters? How many is that? How many gallons is that? I don't know. I have my handy dandy calculator though. Nope. I'm running 2 over a 40 breeder. That's 45 gallons, right? That's a 170. I'm running 2 of those things over a 40 breeder. And no, I mean, if you do, certainly not, one is not going to be too much light. Is that really 34 gallons? No, it won't be too much. I run 2 over a 40 breeder and just turn them down. That's the benefit of nicer lights. You can turn them down, right? Yeah, Chris, we'll talk about that. That's not at all a coincidence. That was certainly jumping on the Neptune bandwagon, trying to justify. I don't want to call that bandwagon. That seems harsh. BRS is just justifying their test method, which I think is full of crap, and we'll talk about that a little bit. It's valuable only comparing BRS tests to BRS tests. So the BRS tests are they benefit the light, and we'll get to that. They add par. They are par multipliers. That's kind of how it. I don't know. Whatever. That's their test. So if they do their test, compare their test to their test. That's cool. If you look at my test, compare my test to my test, and if you look at some of the tests over on Reef to Reef, you'll see that a lot of the data kind of aligns with what you might see over there, even though that testing is performed in water. Only it's in a dark tub, not in glass box. Chris, Luca's been talking about a standard, and nobody's going to buy into that. Actually, I like Dana's tests. I think he does a good job, and the way he performs his test, it does not benefit the light, but it does include water. BRS's tests suggest that lights are more powerful than they are, which lends itself to somebody having to buy more lights later, because the lights aren't necessarily as powerful as they may seem when you get them home and put them on top of your tank. I mean, that's just that test method. So as long as you can work your new people, unsuspecting people who are totally in line with what they're doing, they're not going to get it. They're not going to care. I was certainly that crowd for a really long time. I totally dig their testing. Their testing, as far as I'm concerned, changed reefing. It certainly continues to drive the use of a par meter, which I think is incredibly valuable. So it's not that I'm discounting their testing or their intentions or their effort, because I think they absolutely changed the way we all see lights, what we should expect from lights. They then changed what we think we should expect from lights, but that's fine too. That's not that big of a deal. But the light testing's different. We'll talk about that. We can talk about that a little bit. What's up, Leisure? ASTM standard. That's funny. Nobody's gonna buy into a light testing standard, because it will negatively impact those companies that can't meet that standard. And some of those companies are big name companies. Right? What's their job? Their job is to sell lights. Provide information to sell things. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you need to be able to know what you're looking at, I suppose. And some don't. That's what sucks, and that's why we're here, right? That's why we offer other options. I don't know. There has to be options. If in showing what options are out there, I happen to show what I consider to be a little bit of spin, a little bit of brand protectionism, fine. Somewhere in the middle, not my opinion, not BRS's view, somewhere in the middle is the right answer. And somewhere in the middle is the answer that will work for you. And you just need to be able to either, hit us up, talk directly, get answers to better understand, like what we just did with the 7206. Or you just need to do a little research on your own. And I think you'll find that's helpful. Bam. Okay, real quick, we'll get through the weekly slides. Auntie Jimbo's slideshow from 1947. So look, I busted out the mini Wi-Fi, and I calibrated its pH, and it was reading exactly what the P4 was with a couple-month-old calibration. That made me happy. I'm going to pull the Elmo, the Neptune EL, the BRS version that's on the work tank, and I'm gonna put the mini Wi-Fi on there because the Elmo's pissing me off. But that's just me. And there is the work tank. I got it all cleaned up. I can see the fish. The glass was nasty. This is part of the problem that I have with BRS's testing. But and that is the I pulled the blaze. It's back here. And I put that Smat Farm, which is just the dumbest name ever. The 85 water. What they're selling now is 95 watts. It's got a pretty cool spectrum. There's nothing wrong with it. It's totally adequate. Manual controls. There's also a remote control, but nobody uses that, right? There's little manual controls on the face of the light. I got that light dialed in with the spectrum that I think works really well, and now I'm happy with that tank. I love the way that tank looks with that light. That's such a cheap light, $110, and it'll kick an AI Prime's ass. No lie. That's a solid light. I don't like those lenses, and I don't like that because they're kind of like the Kessel thingies, but that thing's very close to a Noop. Like, if you wanted a Noop V2 price and a Noop V2 performance, that Smat Farm does that for $110. That's a good damn deal. Lynn bought this, and then she's like, here, take this. This is a cool Pectinia that's in the display. I'm happy with that coral. It's growing. It will be given away so other people can grow that thing. See this work tank. This thing's pretty awesome. This is a 15 tall tank that I stole from a coworker. This used to be in our office. He and I shared an office, and it was in there. This is a 15 tall. I cut some acrylic. I turned it into an all-in-one with a little Rio pump back here. So it's got a Inkbird. It's got a Finex heater. It's got that Rio pump, and it has a little fan, whatever, lock line return, and it has a Jabo SLW in there, and it works perfectly. I don't know. This whole setup is under $200. So when people tell you reefing is expensive, screw them. You could do this for, I mean, Moki's was what, 146, and he was totally successful. This is an all-in-one for easily $200. And that's not a bad deal. What's up, Carlos? I made a battery. Oh, I finished it today. This is now the battery that lives in Big Red. I took that other, I thought it was back here, but it's not. I took that Amazon battery out of that. This is nice, and it fits in there, and it's a little, it's not that it's lighter, it just fits a little better in the box. So it's out in the garage right now charging. And that was easy to do. I just used the round batteries that you see right there to act as a arc welder with those little nickel strips, and it worked perfectly. Poof, 12-volt battery. Hi, Lynn. This is Work Tank, and this thing's so incredibly evil. It puts out sweepers that puts this weird gelatinous goo over top of any corals that get close, and it just kills them. So, but I don't know. That Acan it's pretty. It has cool colors. Under different lights, it'll color up differently, like a lot of corals. But duh, that's kind of a duh statement. But this one's fun. I like this thing. So many people hate this thing. They're like, no, I got to calibrate it every time. I don't calibrate it. Like, I'll calibrate it, and then I won't calibrate it for months. I don't rinse it. I don't clean it. I check the water, and then I like check my tank, and then I go check my fresh mix, and I make sure they say the same. And then when I calibrate the thing, whatever, the GHL is watching it too, and the numbers are fine. It's 1.025. That's just what it is. I don't know why people have a hard time with this thing. I know that people calibrate this thing wrong, and we've talked about this before. When you calibrate this, warm up the fluid. Don't make this thing do math. Put the fluid in your tank, calibrate that thing in the fluid, still in the tank. That way, that thing is calibrated to your tank's temperature. That way, that thing reads accurately. Don't do it the way everybody else does. They pull that satchel out and they just stick it out in their room, and that satchel's like 68, 70 degrees, and then this thing reads off. Warm up the fluid. Lynn, you're terrible. Coffee while you deal with difficult peeps. I appreciate you. I appreciate your feedback earlier today, too. I'm going to give you that $10 back anyway. Hey, when am I coming to... Don't I have to... I got to drop off stuff for you, and I got to pick up stuff, don't I? This is when I got to talking about paid partnerships. I've seen this more and more lately, right? So Reef Pack, which I don't think is good or bad. I think there are good and not so good people. I don't want to say bad people because that's a little rough. I think there are good people representing BRS. What I have seen lately is posts that include the paid partnership tag, and I appreciate that. I think that's that has been lacking. So it's good to see. That's all. I only calibrate it when I hit the calibrate button on it. That's reasonable. I like that. Calibrating the tank, always. Agreed, Carlos. That's the only way to do it. I was challenged once on that, and I was like, this is the dumbest challenge ever. Why would you challenge that? Have you never, calibrated? And some people don't know, right? They don't have that experience. But it was just a really lame challenge. That didn't need to happen. Yeah, I like this doser. I have received one for free. I have bought 1, 2, 3 of them, 3 more. I like it. And then I bought the boards for the I gotta pick up a dose too from a local dude here. Then I bought 2 of the GHL Maxi boards so I can convert Neptune doses to run on GHL. I've spent my money. Yeah, there's a broken dose coming my way that I'm gonna flip over to a GHL standalone. Something I like about these pumps, right, versus the Neptune dose, a dose requires a controller. These don't. The standalones don't. So if you were going to buy 2 doses and I'm not including the controller money, this thing is $130 less than 2 doses, and this thing runs on its own. You don't need a controller. Don't be doing water changes with this. This is a small head pump. Never do water changes with a small head pump. That's not what they're meant for. But this is a great doser. Light testing. Let's talk about it. Yeah, Carlos, me too. I used to float that jar of 35, whatever, PPT in the overflow just to keep it always warm. And I'd pull that thing out and calibrate the reflectometer. I wish I could warm the glass of the reflectometer, because as soon as you drip it on there, that fluid is absolutely going to cool off. That's probably a bit too much at some point, but, you know. And Lynn, thanks again. That's totally unnecessary, but thank you. B, where you at? Send me your HANA tester. I want to see that. I want to see. I want to compare it to mine. Mail it to me. I want to check it out. BRS light tests. So here's what's up. They're all consistent. And I appreciate, I've already said this, right? I appreciate BRS for their testing consistency. How this is not representative of our tanks at home. That glass is clean. Mine ain't. Some of you have clean glass. That tank has nothing in it. So you have the back surface that's painted black, so you get less reflection off of that. That's cool. That's representative for the most part. Not everybody, but it's representative. Use your fingertip to warm it up. What? Use your fingertip to warm up a reflectometer or refractometer? Huh. Is that a thing? That's not a thing. You're pulling my leg and I'm falling for it. You have in BRS's tests, you have the reflection of the side glass, front glass, a little bit of the back glass. You have the bottom, and you have the internal reflection of the water, the underside of the water. That's 6 reflective surfaces bouncing around those photons. Some of those photons at an angle will leave the water. That TIR, that total internal reflection, that surface barrier between the air and the water, when seen from the bottom, it's reflective. Some of those photons leave. Some of them don't. They do this and they bounce off the glass and they come back down to their testing apparatus. That's why the test data looks so good when it's in water. In a perfectly still, perfectly clean, unpopulated glass box. That's not realistic. That's not what we do. That's not how we run our tanks. We have rocks, we got coral, some of us have sand. That ain't it. Some of us don't clean our glass. It's not representative. So an AI Prime HD 16 over a 40 breeder. What'd they say? 2? They said 2 of those over a 40 breeder. That test will look really good. In reality, it's not going to be that good. Nowhere near that good. So it's not so much that I think their tests are crap, because they're not. If you compare their test to their test, that's cool. The way I test, which is what they're attempting to, as best I can tell, they're attempting to disprove. Same thing for Neptune. My test doesn't involve any variables. It is system agnostic. It has no input from any other sources. It's just the light. What can the light do, right? That's a Reefi. This is a Reefi Duo, right? This Reefi Duo has better spread. This is a $750 light. So it's like $100, not $150. I think it comes with a it comes with a hanging kit. Can you imagine? Oh, shit, it also has a 3-year warranty. Damn. Oh, I was watching some streams. They're like, well, your phone only has a 1-year warranty, so why do you expect your light to have more than 1-year warranty? Like, that was an answer. This has a 3-year warranty. It's $750. It comes with a hanging kit. It has better spread than a Sky. It has better spread than an Ecotech Gen 4 XR30. It has a spectrum that is pretty damn impressive. It's easily neck and neck with the XR30s, and it totally blows the Sky's spectrum away. And it has all the features that you would expect. It's super easy to connect to it. It's super easy to set it up. It's super easy to create the spectrum. It has acclimation mode. It has all the things that you would expect from a light. It's just cheaper and comes with a hanging kit. You can see that difference in my testing because I have no external influence on the test results. That's cool. We all have our different ways, right? And if you look at Dana Riddle's testing, you'll see that it's very similar to mine because he's testing in a gray flat, I believe, in water. It's kind of just a thing. 3-year warranty. My glass isn't clean either. But when I... See? There you go. Like a rectal thermometer. Do you warm that? How do you warm that, Chris? I mean, I don't know where you're going with this. It is Saturday. It's not Sunday. So I suppose the rules are a little different. I don't know what you're saying, Sam. I promise Telegram, LOL. Neptune conductivity probe for me, though. Yeah, just don't get air on that thing, right? I mean, conductivity probes are sensitive. You just shake that thing. You can give it a little shake underneath the water. Make sure there's no air stuck to it. Sleeves, what do you talk about? The new one, what? P-cup. Terrence Phillip. What makes it have better spread? What makes this light have better spread? Just the way it's made. If I test over my grid, which I did yesterday, actually, could you see this? What if I do? Is this on? I don't think that's on. I have the Uno hanging up right now. The spread with the par meter was 80%. Anything above 75 is damn good. The Sky's at 75. The XR30 Gen 4 diffused is at 75. This thing with the par meter is 80, and with the spectrometer is 79. So 4 to 5% better than a Sky and a Gen 4 XR30. Moki's going to be cool, and he's going to hook me up with, because this was mentioned, he's going to hook me up with 2 of his Gen 5 XR15s. And we're going to do a 2 Gen 5 XR15 versus all the other lights that I've tested to see what that spread looks like. I'm assuming that's going to be pretty solid. I'm assuming 80% or better. Yeah, so good point, Chris. You make a really good point. This is another reflective surface that makes photons go back in the tank. So you remember those photons that I said when they escape the water because their angle is less than whatever the hell I said on my last stream? They hit this reflective surface above the water and bounces them right back down. Even better. It kind of adds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Adds a 7th reflective surface. It's kind of fancy. DIY cover. This is window screen material from Home Depot that I cut on the saw with IKEA white mesh stuff intended for cupboards, and it works great. But I do like that little light. If using a digital refractometer, just your fingertip can warm up the lens. Mechanical. I only used mechanical. I haven't used a digital. Is that fancy? XR15 Gen 5 blue, definitely going to be solid. Yeah, agreed. Moki's got the pros, and I'm not worried about. I'm gonna test with the pros because that's what he has. I probably could sneak a Gen 5 blue from Lynn if I gave her a light to replace that for a minute, but I'll figure that out. I'll figure out an XR30 Gen 5 just because it would be worth the comparison to show outside of a tank with no other influences the value of that data. Yeah, this is a good light. There is the Uno. That's the Uno, the bottom of the Uno, which is, I don't know. I don't think you can see it. I don't think it's going to make it over here. Whoop, it made it. See? That's a cool little light. This thing's pulling. Hold on. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. That Uno uses the same power supply as the Duo. And it pulls some serious freaking wattage. Hold on. You just talk amongst yourself while I pull this up. Spectrometer data. I need to just share this spreadsheet somewhere so everybody can have access to it because it kind of has all of the lights that I've tested. That thing's pulling 151 watts. Anybody ever check the wattage on a Gen 5 XR15 blue? That little light pulls 151 watts at spectrum. Not all channels 100%. At spectrum. Gen 5 XR15 Pros are pulling, I believe, 80 watts at AB+. This thing's 151 watts at AB+. There's a whole hell of a lot of light coming out of this. I may be able to, I think I'll, it's dark. I'll be able to shut off the lights and do a quick test. How's the build quality, Reef? Yeah, I did, Phil. I took this one apart. I took apart the Duo Extreme. I think I showed it on the stream last week. It's clean. It's good inside. It's solid. I was impressed. That's a lot of light for less money. It's a big boy light, right? With a savings. Same thing goes for. Let me test the Uno because I'm super impressed with the wattage that thing's pulling. So let me see what it does all by itself. That thing with another one was probably fantastic, but let me see what the Uno does first. See, Carlos, that makes me no tape. You saying the tape that I have on the light so the front thingy doesn't fall off when I'm hanging it up? I hung it up, and then I jerked it, and the Uno doesn't have this. But the Duo, because that thing's magnetically held, that big piece of glass, that thing came off. So I was like, this ain't my light. I'm taping that sucker on there. They don't come that way. Don't hold that against them. That's all me. So I don't break this person's light. What I would like to see, Gen 5 Pro, XR30s, Carlos. I'll at some point I'll get a hold of a Gen 5 Pro, and I want to check. Oh no, there's no Scotch tape inside there. I can tell you that. I'd like to see the total par of the Reefi versus a Gen 5 Pro at Spectrum. I have a feeling that I know this is pulling more wattage. I have a feeling those numbers would be neck and neck. I don't know. It's a good option. Ain't nothing wrong with Ecotech. That's it. I think that's all I have. That's all I have in. That's all I have in Chrome. See, I got a little sunburn today. That's not from drinking my foo-foo. So what did we cover? That's only been 45 minutes. We covered for the new build, yeah. I like those lights. Lynn, you still on? You still like your lights? Lynn's got every light known to man, to include a V3 Noop. So Bertram's going to buy Ecotech. Bertram's going to buy Innovative Marine. We don't know what that's going to look like. That's interesting. Light testing has become a surprisingly hot topic. My bad. There's been a couple attempts to disprove the method. One failed miserably. The other one, it's easily shown with the fun of physics that test is absolutely making the data look better, and it's not representative of what we do in our tanks. It was a busy work week. Like I said, I got to hang out with Dez and Lewis on the Reef experience, and that was fun. They were ready. Oh yeah, you weren't here for that. I have 4 XR15 G5s on an 80 gallon. There's no such thing as too much light. So no, you just turn them down. I haven't seen your new tank too. I want to see that. Yeah, sometimes, Chris. That's true. You've been doing a good thing with 3D printing. Speaking of the alternatives yelling. That's been quiet lately, which I appreciate. That was the right thing to do to begin with. What I've learned is the smart ones don't yell, which kind of... What's up, Bobby? Which is kind of the point you're making, Chris, I suppose. I have the Uno to test, and I have one more light to test. I got to send that back to Jake. Not that Jake, different Jake. I got to move a ceiling fan. Or no, what do I got to do? I got to ditch a I rearranged some stuff in my house, so I got to ditch an over a dining table kind of chandelier looking thingy. I'm going to just chuck that. I don't think I need it. I'll put it out for somebody to take. Put another ceiling fan up, probably by 2 so they match. Wait, what I missed, Jim? Ecotech. Yeah, so Carlos, I have from a source information suggesting that Bertram, the same people that have funded BRS, are doing the same for Ecotech. So they are purchasing or have purchased Ecotech, and they're also doing the same for Innovative Marine. We'll see if that comes true. I did a poll in this chat, and everybody's like, yeah. And I also mentioned that I had talked to a VC guy, smart dude in the industry, and this was a couple months ago, and he's like, oh, they're totally going to buy Ecotech. And I was like, no way. He's like, yep, just wait. Sure enough, that's the way it looks. So we'll see what kind of announcements we get. I don't argue with stupid. I think so. Do we call him Kevin? Is that what happened? I could see them actually buying Innovative Marine. Do you think Ecotech is selling out completely or just allowing investment? I I would expect Ecotech to remain their own entity. They do a good job at what they do, so I totally expect them to stay. So, like, not an acquisition, but a partnership. They're gonna cozy up a little, which makes sense to me. BRS's customer service stays the same, right? Their customer service has always been amazing, period. I've never received... There was the Elmo thing, but whatever. Their customer service, anytime I needed help, they were always there. Anytime, like, something got lost or something wasn't packed right or whatever, they always took care of me. Even if the original package showed back up, I was like, send me an invoice for this because it finally showed up, and it's not right that I... paid once for double the order. They're like, nope, it's on us. You're good. Peace out. You can't beat that customer service, right? That's amazing. Ecotech's kind of the same way. That's really good customer service right there. They do a good job of taking care of their customers. I'm hoping to see that transition over to Neptune because they're lacking, and that's just the way that is. But they'll fix that. So hopefully Ecotech stays out on their own. I don't have any fancy fish tanks, so I mean, I've seen IM tanks. They're nice. They're really nice. I mean, that's a decent item to have in-house to have control of. That all makes sense to me. So, Matt, I don't expect the customer service to change at all. Kevin is the name that people randomly call. Roger that, Kevin. Is that Kevin Clevin? That's fun. That's fun to say. Jake's Reef. I figured out the meters. For some reason, I have to remove it and then add it, and now everything works. So you and I don't have to have a call. I just talked about you. Were you here for that? We could still have the call if you want. I should have some time tomorrow. More money may help Ecotech move further in the market with the new innovation. Yeah, so a long time ago they were talking about the controllerless controller, right? And this was before the Hydros and the Hydros Collective and all that kind of crap, right? All that Hydro stuff, except for the power bars, they need to be wired. What Ecotech was wanting to do was build this wireless ecosystem where all of their devices could talk to each other, effectively building a mesh controller. And that made sense to me because Ecotech has pretty solid communications. Their Bluetooth is solid. So Bluetooth to Bluetooth to Bluetooth in the same house, that all makes sense to me. And then you Wi-Fi in, and you're able to see all your devices that are connected via Bluetooth. That's pretty cool to me. And you don't have one failure point. Now, I think that's been slow to come to market. That was a long time ago I toured there. But agreed. Additional money always makes... Additional money always helps. No, I said, Jake, I gotta... I need to hang your light because I got these Reefis here. I need to hang your light and send that thing back like I said I was gonna. Chris Clevin. Kevin. Yeah, that's fine. I just roll with it. It could be worse, right? Nothing about you, dude, other than I owe you your light back. That's what was told to me. The controls are in the works. Yeah. I think they'll do a good job, and I like that they're being quiet about it, and I like that they take their time. I think companies who take their time to release things to market are doing it the right way, even if it pisses you off. You said this was going to be out in March. Now it's like not March the next year. So what? You want it to show up working. There's plenty of examples out there of stuff showing up not working and the customers being pissed. I'd rather be pissed that I'm waiting. I'm really good at waiting, so that's not going to bother me at all. I'd rather be pissed that I have to wait than pissed because something showed up and didn't work. Know what I'm saying? There's some fun documentaries out there regarding the bureaucracy of a larger funded organization, not necessarily run by the people who founded it. And sometimes it goes okay, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see. That's why, and who was I talking to? I was talking to Moki about this. I was like, the opportunity for the people like Reefi or whatever, Luca for that matter, right? His lights are gonna show up soon, certainly before Christmas. And that guy's sinking some capital into that business. I mean, he's working. I think these larger companies are creating a space in the reefing market for, mom and pop manufacturers, like some of these companies used to be, to move into that space vacated by these now larger companies that are no longer mom and pop and sell at a reasonable, competitive price, beating the big folk. Because all indications, these Unos absolutely stomp on, not G5, I'm not talking about G5, but they stomp on older generation Ecotech XR30s and a brand new Sky. If more people can move into that space, like, go for it. That'll be awesome. I think that benefits all of us. Right, the BRS thing is not a monopoly. I mentioned that before. You just got to keep the overhead low, still maintain a decent margin, so you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your family, you can take care of your production, you can take care of the things that break, you can take care of all the things that you need to take care of, so still have a decent margin, but not sell stupid high-priced stuff that requires a strong marketing engine or the influencer marketing tools to keep them alive. There's a way to do it. I think there's a space there for people. The more people that jump in that hole and start filling it in and giving us options, the better off we'll all be. Keep that going. That'd be interesting, Carlos. That's an interesting point. I like how Ecotech does it, right? I've not been to the new place. But when I toured the old place, I watched them making lights. They bring that quality in-house. It's totally controlled by them. They don't have to worry about the third party. They can, over time, reduce their cost and increase their margin if their lights are the same price. I mean, that makes total sense to me. Outsourcing that kind of stuff in this environment is kind of great. I don't know, kind of whatever. Hey, Taylor, how's tomorrow? How's tomorrow looking? Tomorrow looking okay? I like that Taylor comes on the stream, and he's from the future, and he gives us insight as to how tomorrow looks. Taylor, I think anytime you jump on this stream, you should provide us a little view on what we should expect from tomorrow. Can you do that for us? So we'll have Taylor time, and then you just throw tomorrow's outlook on us and let us know how that's going to be. Cool? Cool. Agreed. More choices, more power. And more happy reefers, maybe. Anybody got anything funky going on? Because I have about wrapped up all I got to talk about. Remember, empty tanks reflect. Later, Kevin. That's fun. Thanks, Lynn. I like that. That's more fun. I'm going to wait for Taylor to tell us how tomorrow is before I leave, and he'll be disappointed. But it's Saturday, and I've run out of stuff to talk about. What else do I have? I don't think I have anything else. I haven't opened up the Blaze X Mini yet. I still got the puck sitting over there. Yeah, I got nothing. That's it. It was a really busy week. Talked about that battery. That's about it. Taylor time. Tomorrow is a good day. Very warm. Tank is also good tomorrow. Okay, cool. Be ready next week. You got to put a little substance into it. Taylor time's really important now. I want to make that a woman. It's important. We need to know what our tomorrow outlook is. Casual. I don't want to move. I would hate moving a tank. That's awesome that you only lost one. I would hate to have to do that. Custom Alley E strip. Gen 5 XR15 blues. Love those lights. What would you use for diodes? Well, now I got to go look. Dan, are you on Instagram? Because this is how this works. You tell me what lights you have. I go snoop around BRS's stuff if I don't have the... Oh, you know what? I do have... Oh, I've got XR15 blue spectrum. And then I pick what colors to add to complement your light. That's how that normally works. I sent you a pic to share. Okay, I'll look. Thanks, Jake. I'm looking around calc slurry. So, hey, Dan, back to you. Seriously. So, DM me on Instagram. And I'll go grab a spectrum. And with the blue, you may not need to go custom, but let me see if anything in there makes sense. That work? Looking into calc slurry in a new tank, can I just use a Kimura X1 doser? Nope. If you have a Kimura X1 Pro T, yes. If you just have a regular Kimura X1, that's only 12 doses a day, and I don't think that's enough. If you're going to do slurry, and seriously, only do slurry if your 24-hour alkalinity drop supports it. It should be greater than 0.5 in 24 hours. I prefer closer to 1 before I start throwing slurry in a tank. You need to dose. I suggest you dose. You don't need to. I suggest you dose as close to continuous as possible. So with a Pro T, you can run continuously. With a Versa, continuously. With a Kimura STP, continuously. I'm using a GHL, so I'm 144 times a day. So that's like every 10 minutes or so. Don't do 12 times a day. 144. Kimura X1 can only do 12. So I say no. If you hit up Coral View, they'll sell you for a decent price. They did a good job there. They'll sell you the X1 Pro T, and that's a continuous stepper motored doser. So do that. Taylor's tomorrow time. I agree. It's important. I'll go back and watch what I miss. Sounds like you found some more decent budget lights. So I don't know that I'd call these budget. These are Unos, right? These are Reefi's Unos. I don't know that I'd call these budgets. The Unos and Duo. The Uno is pretty damn good price for as powerful as it is, but I haven't tested that, so I can't tell you yet. The Duo Extreme is $750, so it ain't cheap. But it is it's a beast. It's good. It's got good numbers. So, and it comes with a hang kit. 12 hours of moving, never again. Ugh, moving sucks. All right, cool. Thanks, Dan. What's up, Jaylene? I think I'm done. Anybody got anything? I'm out of drink. I got a little water. Kimura X1 Pro T is a great pump. Yes, it is. I got one downstairs. I plugged it in, and I made it run, and it's not doing anything other than sit there dry running just to see how long it lasts. And it's been running for a long time. All right. A lot of fun lately. Looking forward to having a couple conversations. All online stores are carrying X1 Pro Ts. Oh, cool. That's good. Go get them. Use one of those. Those are okay pumps. I was on Reef Breeders, and they have a UV light bar. I was just wondering what you would use that bar for. 321, I don't believe it's actually UV. Look at the spectrum. If it has lenses, it's not UV. It's probably just violet. I don't get it. UV should not be a marketing term. UV should be UV. Violet. Or deep violet. They could say deep violet. Or hyperviolet. Or something. But UV shouldn't be a marketing term. I think Greg Carroll, he likes to mention that. I disagree. It should not be a thing. UV is not marketing. UV science. UV simple. Below 400 nanometers is UV. It's invisible. You can't see it. If you can see it, it's not UV. Bugs can see it. So unless you went all Jeff Goldblum, The Fly, you're not going to see the light coming out of a UV bar. Violet Pro. I don't want to go there. People get all riled up about UV. Like Jake just said. It's hilarious. It really is. It's the silliest damn thing. Well, like whatever. Influencers aren't bad. We'll cover that one. Influencers who use their powers for good are doing good things. And there are the others. Aren't there always? Don't you always have two sides? Usually. All right, I'm jumping, y'all. Cell phone camera could probably see UV. Can it? It's got an infrared cut filter on it. Can it see UV? Nuh-uh. Those old night vision camcorders, they can see that crap. I think. Oh, yeah, the ones... Yeah. Those can. I don't know about cell phones. Oh. BU took away your message. I'm going to have to go back and watch the stream to see what you wrote. All right, y'all. Woo, that's a lot of chat. I think I'm jumping. As always, hit me up on Instagram. I am more than happy to answer your questions. My super crappy answers will always be free. If you want to know what kind of custom bar to buy to help your spread, because spread is overblown, because you can add a bar. It may look a little cheesy, but you could do it. But if you have a lighter lights and you want to know what spectrum would complement your light or lights, I am happy to provide that. And you can go get your own. I really should have got myself an affiliate link a long time ago, but I don't. But you can go get your own custom 24-inch bar for $60. If you have calc slurry questions, because it's still confusing for some, and I get it. It's a little different. It's not a calc reactor. It's not saturated calc. It's different. It's other than that. I'm happy to answer those questions. You're just going to have to get you a Jabo pump. Looking forward to watching what Bahama Llama does for bulk reef supply, because I like Remy. I think that's cool, right? That's an influencer doing the right thing, as far as I'm concerned. That's a hot topic lately. I guess I stirred some up. We'll see. Oh, and Lynn likes to remind me that I do have a Patreon. Thank you. The Patreon, I have two tiers. $1 a month and $3 a month. The difference is the $3 a month I will have once a month, which I need to schedule, by the way, an all-hands Zoom call. So everybody in the $3 tier can hang out in the Zoom call. Everybody else gets access to the Discord. So we have a lively chat going on over there, people talking to each other, which I love to see, people helping each other with DIY stuff, which I also love to see. That's cool. We haven't done any voice hangouts over there yet, but we will. Actually, I was on there today, just nobody else was on. I haven't scheduled anything, so I want to schedule some voice time. We'll schedule some Zoom time for the higher tier folk. You know, I'm not looking to make money. I'll tell you how much money I'm making, and I'll tell you where the money where it went, because you know I buy stuff just to test it. And then sometimes I sell it, or sometimes I give it away. So thanks for that, Lynn. All right, y'all. I'm jumping. Happy Saturday. I hope you're well. Stay well. Keep sharing news. That's fun. I enjoy receiving news like I did this morning. And I'm looking forward to being wrong about the Bertram Ecotech Innovative Marine. But maybe I'm not. But we'll see. I think that adds a little spice to it, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You'll hear it. Cool. All right. Have a good rest of your weekend. Happy reefing and be kind, everybody. Thanks. Oh, and thanks, Lynn. You're cool. Here we go. This is that part. Peace out.